There seems to be some confusion in the United States of America about what constitutes a human life. And many people wonder why abortion is a political issue, why the government is even involved, and should they even be? But have you ever wondered why you don't have to contact the government when you get pregnant? At the start of a pregnancy, you can have a baby and never tell anybody until the baby is actually born. So I can't speak for other nations, but in the United States of America, having a baby is called an inalienable right. You see, it's in our beautiful founding document, the Declaration of Independence, with its most quoted section. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all humans are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Now, for those of you who don't know what that means, inalienable rights are our natural human rights. So it is your God-given right to have a baby. So then why is abortion a political issue? Because it is not your right to end a life. The government should get involved anytime somebody wishes to take the life from another person. So let's continue with those profound words from the Declaration of Independence. With certain inalienable rights, among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those rights are available to all Americans, all humans. So not only are they available to a woman, but also to the baby. I'm starting a series of videos about abortion, and every video I'm going to tackle a different part of it because abortion is a multifaceted topic and its tentacles reach into many different areas. But there is no better way to start. How do you deal with something than to deal with something from its fundamental truth? There is a fundamental truth at stake, and that is what is making abortion such a complex issue. I am here, and I am making these videos because I fervently believe that there are other people who believe in the things that I believe. I believe they simply do not have the courage to stand up and say them. I am also here because there is a burden on my heart to protect those who cannot protect themselves. And in this case, the number one victims are unborn children. But I am also a woman. And so I am also here to speak for women because I believe that there is a massive deception going on. And women who would rather not have an abortion are having them. But, as I said, this video will be strictly about the fundamental truth of life. So let us begin. One of the questions or the positions from the pro-abortion side is that we do not know when life begins. Now, I think that is very, very shameful for a nation like America to even entertain such a statement. We are so advanced in all of our science. We have made such great strides in prenatal health for us to actually sit here and say, when does life start? When does human life really begin? Now you see, I don't like that question, and so I'm not going to answer it. You see, because it's a loaded question, it's a motivated question, it's driven in one direction. You see, semantics is a really nasty beast. Semantics is playing with language. So you see, what pro-abortionists say is, when does human life begin? I'm not interested in when human life begins. I'm interested in when life begins. Don't put an adjective on top of it, human life. Let's just talk about the umbrella of life. The umbrella of life. And underneath life comes all other life. So if we can give ourselves the definition of life, then we should be able to describe human life very easily. And so some people may have forgotten that we have a dictionary. We were given dictionaries. People sat down and labored to come up with our English language and give everything a definition. So let's not talk about human life, let's talk about life. And so I looked it up in the Oxford Dictionary. What exactly is life? The first definition is the condition that distinguishes animals and plants from inorganic matter, including the capacity for growth, reproduction, functional activity, and continual change preceding death. The existence of an individual human being or animal. I don't believe anybody is confused about when a human life starts. You may be like, oh, we need scientific proof. I'm not going to give you any. Because I don't think that that's what we need science for. Science wasn't here for us to destroy things with. Science was supposed to aid us in showing us how things work. It was a tool. We've turned it into some sort of God. But it doesn't reach that far. So, life. We're not confused. And you want to know why we're not confused? Because all you have to do is go out and speak to people. We don't speak in scientific language. That's not how humans talk, right? But that's what we're doing with this specific situation. We're turning it into science speak. Nobody, when they go to eat a meal and they put it in front of them, talks about the mastication process and how it's in your mouth and it turns into a bolus and then it goes down your esophagus and then into your stomach and the digestive. Nobody talks this way. No one does this. But that's what we're doing with pregnancy. We're sitting there saying, well, it's not really a baby, it's a zygote, and then it's an embryo, and then it's a fetus. Who talks that way? No one. And I can prove it because you can just go online. You can just talk to a woman and immediately she's having a baby. Oh, pregnancy equals having a baby. That's it. There's nothing else to it. You want more proof? Let's move out of human life and into just regular life. Have you ever met people who are plant people? They just love their plants, and their whole homes are loaded with plants. I'm a plant person, kind of, but I've seen crazy ones, wild. But I get it. I've planted a seed before in the soil, and one of the most exciting things with a plant is when you see that little piece of green just start to pop out, and you're like, ah, a plant, it's growing. We're so excited. Life? What if you went and you showed this little pot to somebody and it has a little life, and then that person looked at it with disgust and pulled it right out? Do you know how angry that would make a plant person? Livid over a plant. A plant. You see, the problem today is not, do we know when life begins? That's not the issue. The issue is we have a blatant disregard for the sanctity of life. That's the issue. And I'll prove it yet again. And this one is a sad, sad fact. And it's a foreboding one as well. So, if you were in a situation and there, somebody's pet dog and a person, let's say they're in a fire, there are many people who would save their pet dog before they would save a strange human being. This is true. You can just go online. You can just look at social media. Look at any of the animal videos. And nobody asked them to say it. But humans will volunteer their thoughts. This is why I love animals. This is why animals are so much better than people. And people suck. And I just like to be around animals. Wow. Sanctity for human life. Anybody care? They don't care. We know what a human is, and we know when life begins. Now, I'd like to continue on this because abortion is criminal, and it has far-reaching tentacles, as I said. It has implications for the future that most people will never, ever think about. It's because people are not visionaries. People don't look into the future and say, if I do this today, what will happen 10 years down the road? That's not how most people think. Most people live in the present and they might think about tomorrow. They might think about the concert that they have to go to next week. But they do not think about what happens. What about the decisions you make today? What are the implications 5 years down the road? There are many implications for abortion because we are opening a door and you don't know how to close it. And I think this is our last opportunity to close that door. So I would like to talk about the implications of abortion because there's something about it. You see, you have to start talking about the value of a human being, the value of a human life. If you did not know this, it is not a very easy task for a human to take the life of another human. It's not. We are desensitized to it because it's all over the movies and it's so easy. You know, I love John Wick, but like it's ridiculous. I mean, he must kill over 100 people in one movie. And so you're like, oh, it's gotta be easy. It's not easy. It's not. And so there's a lot of guilt around it. So how do you do it? How do humans engage in any form of cruelty or just dispose of another human? You see, with abortion, we're not calling it cruelty. We're just saying I'm terminating a pregnancy. There it is. There it is right there. You see, you change the language. Language has power. And we're putting that out in the world right now. We're telling people, you know, give yourself affirmations. Speak positively to yourself, positive thinking. We understand the power of language. And so when you change the words for humans into something less, it becomes easier to dispose of them. And so that is what pro-abortionists have done. You see, they're not confused about when life starts. That's not it at all. They know for more women to get rid of babies, you have to change the language. And so you say, it's not really human. It's not. It's not a baby. It's just a fetus. It's just an embryo. Once you enter that space, that space of dehumanizing a person, it opens a door for genocide. If you didn't know that, you can look all throughout history, and I hope all of you understand this. You don't want to be on the wrong side of history. And right now, we're dangerously close. All human rights violations are genocide. And that's what this is. You see, in America, we have a tattered past as well. We had slavery. That evil was allowed to exist during the birth of our nation. And it had horrible implications that still live on to this day. Slave owners and their families were really worked up about treating humans really poorly. It does. It eats on your brain after a while, your conscience. It gnaws at it. So what did they do? Somebody had to fix this. And so they said, oh, they're not humans. They're property. They're a thing to be traded like goods and services, a mere commodity. Just like that. You say, oh, they're equivalent to cattle. Just like that. You say, oh, I'm better than them. I'm human. They're not. They're lesser. We see this in history, and it's had very, very, very bad implications. All throughout history, anytime somebody wants to get rid of another group of people, you call them a lesser name. We saw it in Nazi Germany. They wished to extinguish Jews. What did they do? They called them rats. They called them parasites. Parasites is a really nasty word because we're calling fetuses, we're calling babies parasites, leeching off their mothers. What do you do with a parasite? You get rid of it. The Japanese called the Chinese in Nanking insects. That's how you get rid of them. Anytime you wish to get rid of a human and not have it eat on your conscience, you give them a dehumanizing name. It's terrible. Terrible. Now you might say, Nat, that's far reaching. That's too far. Okay. Well, let's bring it back to today for you. Let's talk about what our value system, the value of a human being, and the implications of that for you. If you think that that's too far, fine, let's talk about just now. We believe, or what is being said, that a mother gets to determine if a child should be born or not by simply saying if it is wanted or unwanted. That's wild. Yes. Could you imagine? You, as an adult, can you imagine? So your parent says to you, you are unwanted. Like, I really didn't want you. What do you think that does to a person? Language has power. What do you think it does? You think that person goes off and becomes, a multi-millionaire, starts a company that really takes care of the world? Or do you think the majority of them will end up in therapy and will say, my parents didn't love me, I'm unwanted? Do you think that it will start a cycle in them? This person will go out and they will seek validation from another person. They will try to be loved because they were not loved by their parent because they were allegedly unwanted. And we're using those kind of terms so freely, like it means nothing. Then there's another issue with the value of humans. One would say that if it comes to it, the mother should be saved over the child. One should ask why. And everybody, most people would go with this. They would say immediately, well, she's the mother, she's alive, the baby is not. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Now, I'm going to say something that will offend many people, but I want you to really think about it, because if it offends you, then abortion offends you. Okay? Are you ready for it? From my research, the majority of women who have abortions are poor. Very poor. 41% are under the poverty level. But you claim that the life of the mother is more important than the life of the baby. Well, why? These are women who sit on the government. They probably get food stamps. They probably get all sorts of help from the government. Are they really contributing to society? It's not like most of these women are scientists or doctors or politicians and that they're going to go on and be a great contribution to society and do great things. We already know that from seeing them. But what about the baby? We haven't seen the potential of the baby. But you're making a value judgment just off seeing somebody and not seeing somebody. That's all you've just done. That's crazy. If you are offended, I hope you are. Because now you understand. That's a nasty assumption to make. You can't say that a mother is more important than a baby. But this is what pro-abortion is pushing now. They're pushing a merit system on people, a value system on people. Who chooses it? Well, in this case, it's just the mother. That's now. When I was born, I had a complicated birth. I was a big baby. I was 9 pounds 5 ounces. And this is 3 decades plus ago. And so my mother, obviously the technology was not as good as it is today. And I believe there was also not a doctor in the house. So my mother, they told her that it's most likely going to either be you or her, or your baby, I should say. And yeah, here I am, guys. Hello, I lived. Now, this has nothing to do with my mother. I love my mother, and she didn't make a choice. Somebody else made a choice. Somebody else. The world hangs in his hands. And a lot of people have decided to take the world in their own hands. But maybe God just wanted me to live. And so here I am. It'd be nice if more people said, you know what? It's not up to us to determine the value of a human life. How about we let the Creator determine the value of a human life and not us? Now, I'd like to continue with that thought right there because some of you may have been like, maybe I was with her up until that point. I don't believe in a God. Okay, good. Good. I hope you believe in evolution. Let's talk about it. I don't want anybody to be a product of hypocrisy. So, if you believe in evolution, but you also believe that there's value in life, you cannot have that belief system. I don't want you to be a hypocrite. You must throw that idea out. If you have ever been told by a person that you have intrinsic value, that is a lie. You must look them in the face and say, I do not have intrinsic value. I do not have value just for being alive. No, all of my value comes from external factors. All of my value comes from the fact that I have wealthy parents, or that I have done some sort of merit, or that I am attractive, or that I am super tall. All of them must be external factors. That is what you must believe if you can place value on a person. Okay? So, it is only a matter of time that someone starts to play semantics with your life. They're doing it right now with the lives of babies. And it must be really easy when nobody is fighting back, because they can't fight back, because they can't speak. But woe is the day that somebody plays semantics with your life. And I can already tell you from the implications, the first people that will go after children, somebody will say, why don't the disabled go? Because they're just sitting on the system. And then, of course, the poor will all be next. Because all you do is sit on the system and take money. That's the nasty door we're opening. I would like to kind of round this out with one more sobering fact. I had been hearing, or I actually watched a video, and Ben Shapiro said that he doesn't believe that women are murdering their babies. It is called killing. And it's because they are unaware that they are killing a child. I disagree. Ben Shapiro is not a woman. Maybe he hasn't spoken to women who have had abortions, or maybe he was trying to be really nice. I'm not really 100% certain. I am a woman. I also have female friends. I know women who have had abortions. And maybe it's just because I am a woman and I'm aware of what pregnancy is, because, you know, once you're told it, you never forget. Oh, women have babies, women carry babies, men don't. And so automatically, though I have never had a child, I seem to realize that if I got pregnant, I'd be carrying a child. And I've never heard a woman not refer to her baby as a baby. Oh, I'm pregnant. It just seems to be a very natural thing. So the question would then become, well, then how are all these women killing their children? There is a concept called object permanence. It's the ability to know that something exists without seeing or hearing it. It is actually developed in babies around 6 to 9 months. It's that whole concept of like out of sight, out of mind kind of a deal. That's essentially what's going on here. The problem is we're not 6 to 9 months old. We're grown adults. So this is what I wanted to mention. In World War II, about 15 to 20 million people died on European soil, with 6 million victims being from the Holocaust. Adolf Hitler started World War II, and it is believed that he never killed a single person with his own hands. You see, it is very easy to get rid of something that you can't see, to give an order and say those people should be exterminated when you don't have to get your hands dirty. This is why there are nations who are now trying to put the child into some sort of reality for the woman so that she can see it, so that they can hear the heartbeat, see an ultrasound where the baby looks very human, so that they understand the reality of the situation. We do know. Women do know that they're having a baby. They do. But many women are pushed into situations and it is an option. Because the option is available, they use the option. It is very easy to disregard a life of anyone that you haven't seen or that you don't have a relationship with yet, like an unborn child. I do not lack compassion. As I said, I am a woman, I do understand, but I do believe that we are being deceived. But it is so important that we step out from our foundational truth of the sanctity of life. From there, it should be easier to make decisions knowing that we must value a human, especially one who can't speak for themselves. Women, we are protectors as well. It is not just men, and we have always protected babies in the past. We were taken advantage of by men because we were physically weaker. But women who live in the United States of America, we have many rights. And so we are protected. It is wrong for us to not defend somebody weaker. Unborn children or children in general. I hope this video opens your eyes to the reality that there is something at work here more than what we think, because we all know what life is. But if you haven't thought about the future and what those implications are, I hope that I was able to open your eyes to a very harrowing reality. So I have more videos on this topic. As I said, there's a massive deception in this area, and so I will try and tackle pieces at a time because it is very broad. But I want you to know that I am on the side of the poor. I am on the side of victims. I am on the side of those who can't defend themselves. I am on the side of women who want to have babies that I know they love and they are being taken from them. I am on your side.
I've been educated, my enemies made sure you'd best